Have you ever paused to wonder why, despite everything you've accomplished, there's still an emptiness you can't fill? The world offers solutions, money, success, validation, but none of them truly satisfy, do they? What if I told you that the void you feel is not a problem, but a calling? Yes, a divine invitation to something greater, something eternal. Stay with me through this message, because what you're about to hear could transform not just your day, but the very trajectory of your life. The voice that never stops calling. Life has a way of consuming us, doesn't it? From the moment we wake up, there are demands. The alarm clock rings, the emails flood in, and the weight of expectations presses down before your first sip of coffee. Amidst this whirlwind, something profound is happening, though you might not notice it. There's a voice, gentle, steady, unwavering. It's not like the chaotic noise of the world. It doesn't demand your attention with flashing screens or urgent deadlines. Instead, it whispers to your heart, calling you back to what truly matters. This voice is not just a fleeting thought or a random feeling, it's the creator of the universe reaching out to you. Imagine this, before you were even born, before you took your first breath, this same voice spoke your name. It crafted you with intention, placing in you unique gifts, a purpose, and a destiny. Yet, as we journey through life, we often drift. The noise becomes louder, and that quiet, divine voice fades into the background. But here's the truth, it never stops calling. Every sunrise you see, every kind gesture you receive, even the challenges you face, they're all ways this voice is trying to reach you. It's saying, come back. Focus on what's eternal. Focus on me. And yet, we resist. We think, not now. I'm too busy. I'll have time later. But, my friend, how many times has later come and gone without anything changing? What if this moment, right here, right now, is your divine appointment? What if this is the moment when everything begins to shift? The noise of the world versus the peace of His presence. Let's be honest, the world is loud. It pulls you in every direction, convincing you that your worth is tied to your productivity, your possessions, or your popularity. It tells you that success is measured by the size of your bank account or the number of likes on a post. But let me ask you, has any of that truly filled the void inside? The noise of the world is relentless, but it's also empty. It offers temporary highs that fade into deeper lows. The things it tells you to chase, wealth, recognition, power, are like sand slipping through your fingers. You can never hold onto them long enough to feel truly satisfied. Now, contrast that with the peace of His presence. When you quiet the noise and turn your focus to Him, something miraculous happens. The chaos around you doesn't magically disappear, but your perspective changes. The storm may rage, but you feel anchored. The questions that once tormented you find clarity. The burdens that felt unbearable suddenly feel lighter. Imagine standing on a rocky shore during a storm. The waves crash violently, and the wind howls, threatening to sweep you away. But then you see it, a lighthouse, standing firm and steady, its light cutting through the darkness. That's what God's presence is like. It's a guiding light, a refuge, a reminder that no matter how fierce the storm, you are not alone. But here's the catch. To experience this peace, you have to make a choice. You have to intentionally tune out the noise and tune into His voice. It's not always easy. It requires effort, discipline, and faith. But the rewards? They're beyond anything this world can offer. The power of turning back. Perhaps you're thinking, I've drifted too far. I've made too many mistakes. It's too late for me. Let me stop you right there. It's not too late. It's never too late. The very fact that you're hearing these words right now is proof that you are being called back. Think about the story of the prodigal son. He took everything his father gave him and squandered it. He made mistake after mistake until he found himself at rock bottom, feeding pigs and longing for their food. But then, he made a decision, a simple yet powerful decision, to return home. And what did he find? Not a father waiting to scold him, but a father running to embrace him, to celebrate his return. That's the kind of love waiting for you. A love that doesn't keep a record of wrongs. A love that isn't based on your performance, but on your identity as his child. When you turn back to him, you're not met with judgment, but with open arms. And in that embrace, you'll find the peace, purpose, and fulfillment you've been searching for. But here's the thing, the decision to turn back is yours. God won't force you. He's given you free will, because love that's forced isn't love at all. So, the question is, will you choose to return? Will you choose to focus on him, to quiet the noise, and to let his voice guide you? If this message is stirring something in your heart, don't ignore it. Don't let the distractions of the world pull you away. Stay with me, because there's so much more to uncover. Friends, have you noticed how the enemy tries to distract you from everything that can bring you closer to God? He uses social media, negative thoughts, and even discouragement to pull you away from the truth. But here, on this channel, you'll find messages that elevate your faith and shield you from these traps. Subscribe now, because every click is a step forward in your walk with God. Don't let the enemy win. The weight of words and the power of silence. Let's pause for a moment and think about the power of words. Have you ever considered how something so small, your tongue, can wield so much influence? Words can build up or tear down. They can ignite a fire of encouragement or leave a trail of devastation. Think about a time when someone spoke life into you. Maybe they encouraged you, reminded you of your worth, or told you they believed in you. How did that make you feel? Probably empowered, seen, and valued. Now, think about the opposite, a time when someone's words hurt you. Perhaps they criticized you or dismissed your feelings. That sting? It lingers, doesn't it? The Bible reminds us, the tongue has the power of life and death, Proverbs 18 verse 21. That's not just a metaphor, it's a spiritual truth. What you speak into the lives of others and into your own life shapes reality. If you're constantly speaking negativity, doubt, and fear, that's the atmosphere you create. But when you choose to speak life, truth, and faith, you open the door for transformation. Sometimes, the most powerful words are the ones left unspoken. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the space where you pause, reflect, and allow God to guide your response. In moments of conflict or frustration, ask yourself, do my words align with His will? Will they build or destroy? This week, challenge yourself to pause before you speak. Let your words be a reflection of God's love, grace, and truth. Because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs more voices that echo His. The gift of time and attention. Time is perhaps our most valuable resource. Once spent, it can never be regained. Yet, how often do we waste it on things that don't truly matter? Scrolling endlessly through social media, worrying about things beyond our control, or chasing fleeting pleasures. What if we saw time not as something to spend, but as a gift to steward? Think about your relationships, your family, your friends, even your relationship with God. How much time do you truly give them? Not just physically being present, but giving them your full attention. In a world full of distractions, attention has become a rare and precious commodity. God doesn't need hours of your day to move in your life. What He desires is your intentional focus, even if it's just a few minutes. A quiet moment in the morning to pray, a whispered thank you in the middle of a busy day, or time spent in His Word before you sleep. Imagine the impact if you dedicated just a fraction of your day to Him. Not out of obligation, but out of love. What would change? Your perspective, your peace, your priorities? Time spent with God is never wasted. It's an investment in your soul, and the returns are eternal. So, starting today, make a commitment. Carve out intentional moments to connect with Him. Let your time reflect your values, and let your attention be a gift you freely give to the one who deserves it most. The battle for your focus. Focus is a battleground, and every day, you're in a war for your attention. The enemy knows that if he can distract you, he can disconnect you from God. And make no mistake, he will use every tactic at his disposal. Social media, endless to-do lists, worries about the future, and even your own insecurities. Have you ever sat down to pray or read the Bible only to find your mind wandering? Or felt the sudden urge to check your phone, answer an email, or do anything but focus on God? That's not a coincidence, it's spiritual warfare. But here's the good news, you're not defenseless. You have the power to reclaim your focus. It starts with recognizing the distractions for what they are and intentionally choosing to turn your attention back to God. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Imagine your focus as a flashlight in a dark room. Wherever you point it, that's what you'll see. If you focus on the noise, the chaos, and the distractions, that's all you'll experience. But if you point it toward God, His light will illuminate your path, bringing clarity and peace. Take a moment now to reflect. Where is your focus? Are you consumed by the world's demands, or are you fixing your eyes on the one who holds everything in His hands? The choice is yours, and it's a choice you make every single day. The power of priorities. What truly matters in your life? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself this question? Most of us don't. We're caught in the whirlwind of daily responsibilities, deadlines, and the constant pursuit of more. More money, more recognition, more possessions. But what is all of it for? God never intended for you to live a life burdened by the pursuit of worldly things. In Matthew 6 verse 33, He reminds us, "Seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." The key to abundance, joy, and fulfillment isn't found in chasing after the things of this world, it's found in aligning your priorities with His. Imagine your life as a jar. The big, important things, your relationship with God, your family, your health, are like large rocks. The smaller, less significant things, your job, hobbies, and material possessions, are like sand. If you fill the jar with sand first, there's no room for the rocks. But if you place the rocks in first, the sand will fit around them. This is how your priorities should be structured. Put God first, and everything else will fall into place. Not without effort or challenges, but with a sense of peace and purpose that only He can provide. Take some time today to reassess your priorities. Are you putting the rocks in first, or is your jar overflowing with sand? When the noise is too loud. The world is loud, isn't it? Every day, you're bombarded with messages, expectations, and demands. Be successful. Be perfect. Be everything to everyone. It's exhausting, isn't it? And in all the noise, it's so easy to lose sight of the voice that matters most, God's voice. But here's the thing, God doesn't shout. He whispers. In 1 Kings 19 verse 12, Elijah found God not in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but in a gentle whisper. God's voice isn't meant to compete with the chaos. It's meant to draw you into stillness. When was the last time you truly experienced stillness? Not just physical silence, but a quiet heart, a moment where the distractions faded and you could hear His voice? For many of us, it's been too long. Stillness isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. It's in the quiet moments that God reveals His wisdom, His love, and His guidance. If you've been longing for clarity, for peace, for a sense of direction, it's time to create space for Him. Turn off the noise. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And listen. He's waiting for you. On this channel, you'll find messages that elevate your faith and shield you from these traps. Subscribe now, because every click is a step forward in your walk with God. Don't let the enemy win. Trusting the author of your story. Your life is a story, and God is the author. Every chapter, every page, every word is written by Him with love, care, and intention. But here's the thing about stories, they don't always make sense when you're in the middle of them. There are twists, turns, and moments of uncertainty. Sometimes, you don't understand why things are happening the way they are. But that's where trust comes in. You may not see the full picture, but God does. He's not just the author of your story, He's the author of all stories. He knows how your life fits into the greater narrative of His kingdom, and He's working everything together for your good. Think about the great stories in the Bible. Joseph, sold into slavery, only to rise to power in Egypt. Ruth, a widow, finding redemption and purpose. David, a shepherd boy, becoming a king. None of their stories made sense in the moment, but they trusted the author, and he brought them to a glorious ending. Your story is no different. Trust him with the pen, even when it's hard. Even when the pages are filled with pain, uncertainty, or waiting. He's not finished yet. The best chapters are still to come. The beauty of surrender. Surrender, it's a word that often carries a negative connotation. We associate it with defeat, with giving up. But in God's kingdom, surrender is not a sign of weakness, it's a declaration of trust. It's the ultimate act of faith, saying, God, I trust you more than I trust myself. When you surrender to God, you're not giving up control, you're placing it in the hands of the one who knows you better than you know yourself. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 reminds us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. But let's be honest, surrender isn't easy. It requires humility, vulnerability, and a willingness to let go of your own plans and desires. It's choosing to believe that God's plans for you are better than anything you could imagine, even when you can't see the outcome. Take a moment to reflect on what you're holding on to. Is it fear? Pride? A dream that hasn't come to fruition? Lay it at his feet. Surrender it to him. Because when you let go, you make room for God to work in your life in ways you never thought possible. Walking through the valley. No one likes the valley. It's dark, it's lonely, and it feels like the world is closing in around you. But here's the truth, the valley is where God does his best work. It's where he refines you, strengthens you, and prepares you for the mountaintop. Psalm 23 verse 4 reminds us, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. God doesn't promise to remove the valley, but he promises to walk with you through it. Maybe you're in a valley right now. Maybe you feel lost, overwhelmed, or abandoned. But you're not alone. God is with you, every step of the way. And he's not just walking with you, he's guiding you, protecting you, and leading you towards something greater. The valley isn't the end of your story. It's a chapter, not the conclusion. Hold on to that truth. Trust that God is using this season to shape you, to grow you, and to draw you closer to him. And remember, the mountaintop is coming. As we close this message, take a deep breath and reflect on everything we've shared today. You've been reminded of God's love, his faithfulness, and his incredible plans for your life. But this is not the end, it's only the beginning. God is calling you to step forward, to embrace the life he has prepared for you. It's a life filled with purpose, hope, and blessings beyond measure. It's a journey that will challenge you, shape you, and ultimately transform you into the person you were created to be. But you don't have to walk this path alone. God is with you, every step of the way. He's your guide, your protector, and your source of strength. Lean into him. Trust in his promises. And let his love be the foundation of everything you do. Before you go, take a moment to comment below with your name and location. We'd love to know where you're watching from and how this message has touched your heart. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our future messages. Every time you tune in, you're taking another step toward a deeper connection with God. Remember, God loves you. He sees you. And he's waiting for you to answer his call. Take this message with you today and let it be the light that guides your path. You are not alone. You are deeply loved. And your best days are still ahead. CTA. Friends, have you noticed how the enemy tries to distract you from everything that can bring you closer to God? He uses social media, negative thoughts, and even discouragement to pull you away from the truth. But here, on this channel, you'll find messages that elevate your faith and shield you from these traps. Subscribe now, because every click is a step forward in your walk with God. Don't let the enemy win. Thank you for joining us. May God bless you and keep you. Until next time, stay strong in your faith and continue to seek His presence. Amen.